The iPhone SE is here, and it's the cheapest, smallest iPhone that you can buy. For $400, you get what's basically a stripped-down iPhone 11, particularly when it comes to the camera. The big question is, to save a few $100, what do you sacrifice in terms of image quality? On paper, the iPhone SE's camera setup is similar to the iPhone 8. The phones even look basically identical. But despite the fact that both phones have just a single 12-megapixel rear lens and a 7-megapixel front-facing lens, Apple says the iPhone SE's more powerful processor and behind-the-scenes software make its camera just much better. I put the new iPhone to the test to see how its photos compare. The iPhone SE's A13 Bionic processor enables some camera magic that the iPhone 8 lacked, including portrait mode on both the front and rear lens with portrait lighting effects. The SE's camera also has Smart HDR, which can help with challenging lighting scenarios. When it comes to video, the SE's rear camera shoots in 4K at 24, 30, and 60 frames per second. You even get cinematic video stabilization in 4K, which means your high-res videos will be ultra smooth. The SE also supports extended dynamic range when shooting at 30 frames per second, which will give your video better lighting details. The front-facing lens shoots in 1080p HD at 30 frames per second and supports cinematic video stabilization, just like the rear lens. In fact, I'm shooting on it right now. But the iPhone 8 is a relic now, and very few people are choosing between that older iPhone and the newest one. People want to know, how does the iPhone SE's camera stack up to the incredibly expensive iPhone 11 lineup? In these quarantine times, I don't have access to every iPhone 11, so we're gonna have to settle for comparing Apple's cheapest iPhone with its most expensive, the iPhone 11 Pro Max. The iPhone 11 Pros have triple lens arrays on the rear, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide, wide, and telephoto lens with 2x optical zoom, and, more importantly, a built-in night mode. More on that in a minute. On the front of the Pros is a 12-megapixel depth-sensing camera with Smart HDR. In the light of day, the iPhone SE and the 11 Pro Max are fairly even. The SE handles backlighting pretty well, and even the shot of the Griffith Observatory at 5x zoom wasn't bad. Although, as you might expect, the 11 Pro Max's zoomed-in shot had way more detail. The SE's rear lens can also shoot portraits, and this is where I was expecting to see a bigger difference between the new phone and the 11 Pro Max. But I actually liked the SE's portrait of me even better than the 11 Pros. Where you'll see the biggest difference between the iPhone SE and the 11 Pro Max is in low-light shots. The iPhone 11 Pro Max's night mode takes extremely dark shots and highlights them perfectly, whereas the SE's nighttime shots look flat and noisy. The SE's 7-megapixel front-facing camera is also surprisingly decent given its specs. I actually really like the front-facing portrait mode, especially when compared to the 11 Pro Max. I thought they were pretty even. Nighttime selfies on both phones are basically impossible, so I would just give up on that. Given that most smartphones today are playing with at least 2, if not 3, rear-facing lenses and a couple of front-facing ones too, I'm reasonably impressed with Apple's budget phone. The SE holds its own against the 11 Pro Max. It's not as capable at nighttime or as detailed in zoomed-in shots, but for $400, this is the best smartphone camera you can get.